Welcome back to study section 3 on FCP 301, arable crop production techniques. And this section is on the cultural practice for arable crop production. In the last sections, we looked at the pre-planting operation, the planting operations, and the post-planting operation. The cultural practice involved in arable crop production includes the site selection, land clearing, as well as land preparation. We have crop selection and crop establishment. We have fertilizer application, weed pest and disease management, harvesting, grading, threshing, drying, and sorting. So in this section, we'll be looking at the cultural practice carried out in cowpea grain legume. Also, we'll be looking at the cultural practices for cassava as one of the root and tuber crops. And lastly, we'll be looking at the cultural practice involved in cereal crop like rice. So, firstly, we'll be looking at the cultural practice for grain legume crop. We've looked at the practices involved in arable crop production, starting from site selection up to the sorting stage. The first part is the site selection. For cowpea, you select a well-drained sandy loamy soil for cowpea. Then land clearing. The land can be cleared manually with African hand hoe. For land preparation, you stomp the land and plow as well as harrow the land into a clean seed bed. Then for crop establishment, when you're planting cowpea alone, you plant it on a bed with 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter. And when you're planting cowpea with other crops, it will be 60 centimeter by 60 centimeter. For the seed treatment, dress the seed with chemicals. Then for fertilizer application, it has to do with incorporation, which needs little nitrogen but more phosphorus. Then for the weed pest disease management, this can be controlled by using the manual and the chemical weed method. Also, you can use insecticides for the insect and pest control measure. For harvesting of cowpea is done when the pods are fully matured and dry. Then after harvesting, you clean and sort as well, and you grade the cowpea as well. This is done in order to separate the broken seeds and foreign materials from the full seed. Then the next one is the drying of the produce. You sun dry the cowpea for days in order to reduce the pest infestation. Then another method is the method of threshing, which is manually done on a clean cement floor, or you use the threshing machine. The next crop that we'll be looking at is cassava, and it is a root and tuber crop. When you are talking about the cultural practice for cassava, the first part is site selection, and this has to do with you choosing a site that is flat or undulating slope. Then you ensure that the site is an open field which is either sandy loamy to clay loamy soil. Then we have land clearing to land preparation. This has to do with you clearing the land with the use of plow and harrow, and this can be done twice using a tractor. We have crop selection. You choose the crop that is of good resistance to pests and diseases and a mature product. Let's say the crop must be of a mature variety. So when you are choosing the crop, it must be of high yield and must be of high resistance to pests and diseases. We have crop establishment. You ensure that the cassava is stem out 20 centimeter to 25 centimeter long with 5 to 7 nodes with the direction facing upward. Then we have for fertilizer application, organic fertilizer like poultry manure can be added to cassava. For the weed, pest, and disease management, this can be done manually with the use of hoe, or you can also apply herbicide in terms of the chemicals at a particular point in time. We have harvesting. Harvesting of cassava is done after planting, that is like 8 to 12 months after planting. Then the next crop that we'll be looking at is the cereal crop, and that is rice. We'll be looking at the cultural practice for rice. The first part is site selection. When you are choosing a site for rice, the site must be a fertile clay loamy soil having good water holding capacity. The land clearing preparation depends on the type of rice that you are cultivating. We have the upland rice, we have the swamp rice. And when you're talking of the land preparation for upland rice, the land must be cleared manually or mechanically, and the land must be cleared and stumped, followed by plowing and harrowing. For the swamp rice, after clearing, the field is divided into plots, making bonds of muddy soil. So that's for the land clearing method, and it is based on the type of rice that you are growing, maybe the upland rice or the swamp rice. For the fertilizer application, apply ammonium for swamp rice. Then we have ammonium and sulfate for swamp rice. Then NPK 1515 for upland rice. In order to control weed, pest and disease management in rice, you can use gamalin 20 to control the pest and disease in rice. For harvesting, grain moisture must be less than 20%, and this can be done 30 to 32 days after flowering. After harvesting, the drying of produce is performed on tarpaulin to reduce dirt and stones. And the method of threshing and shelling involves using a drum or wooden surface in order to thresh your rice. And the shelling of the rice can be done at the rice mill as well. Then the last part under the cultural practice for cereal crop is cleaning, sorting, and grading. It has to do with the removal of impurities and immature rice from the empty spigot. So this will help to sort the rice from the ones that are not mature. Thanks for listening. We've come to the end of this section.